Jamie Thibodeau, are you here for Mr. Roland Peterson's matter?
Yes, I am the case manager for him for Justice Point, Sawyer County.
All right, thank you. We will go on the record in the matter 24 CF56, State of Wisconsin versus Roland Peterson. The state appears through Assistant District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. We have Mr. Peterson appearing in person in custody with counsel Christopher Gramstrup. We're set here today in this matter for a plea and sentencing hearing. The parties have reached an agreement. Mr. Gramstrup, are you able to recite the agreement for the record?
I am, Your Honor. I think we still need to, if we haven't, we would waive the prelim. I think we did already.
I believe we did.
If we did, we had a, yeah, we did. Yeah. He would enter a plea to an amended possession with intent to deliver as part of the crime in an amount, but more than 3 grams, but less than 10. Sorry, excuse me. The remaining counts would be dismissed and read in, including apparently there's a citation out there. There's a joint recommendation for a prison sentence of 5 years, structured as 5 years of initial confinement and 3 years extended supervision.
2 years.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
I said 5.
I'm sorry, 2 years of initial confinement and 3 years of extended supervision with costs. Conditions would be AODA assessment and follow through. And that would be it.
All right. And off the record, you and Mr. Schmidt discussed jail credit and you stipulate to 226 days.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. Plea question and waiver of rates form, please. Thank you. And with the possession with intent meth greater than 3 but less than 10, Mr. Schmidt, is this goes from a D down to an E felony?
Yes.
So it just goes down 1 step.
Yeah.
Okay. The maximum possible penalty could be a total of 15 years, 10 years of initial confinement, 5 years of extended supervision with a potential of a $50,000 fine. Is that accurate, Mr. Schmidt?
I believe so, Judge.
All right. And that's the agreement that you reached, Mr. Peterson, with the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Basis for the agreement reached, Mr. Schmidt?
And
why it's in the public interest?
I think the court probably can guess already since it sat through the whole trial of Vanessa DeCora. I think Vanessa DeCora is the drug dealer, and I think that Roland Peterson was the useful person for her to use. I think he knew what he was being used for, which is the party to a crime liability for it. I think the reduction 1 level and the joint agreement is fair given that and given his criminal history.
All right. Thank you. The court has also received a plea, a sentencing memorandum, because there is an agreement between the parties not to order a pre-sentence investigation report. It is always up to the court whether or not to ultimately order a pre-sentence investigation report. However, the court has received the defendant's sentencing memorandum, and it is quite thorough. And as I've read it, it does contain a lot of the information that I would need in that report. Therefore, I don't believe I need one. Mr. Schmidt, formal motion to amend down from a Class D to a Class E felony from possession with intent of delivering methamphetamine greater than 3 grams but less than 10 grams pursuant to 969.41 paren 1 M E as a party to a crime, a Class E felony.
So made.
The court will grant that motion. Mr. Peterson, I have in front of me a plea questionnaire plea questionnaire waiver of rights form. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this the document that your attorney went over with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he go over it thoroughly with you? And that is essentially word for word.
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand everything on this document?
Yes.
And is that your signature on the second page?
Yes.
If you didn't understand something on the document, did you ask your attorney to explain it to you?
I understand.
And so you understood everything on the document.
Yes, ma'am.
You were pleading guilty to one count of possession with intent methamphetamine greater than 3 grams, but less than 10 grams as a party to a crime. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're 53 years old. You have 16 years of schooling. You can read, write, and you understand the English language. Is that all accurate?
Yes.
Did your attorney go over with you what the state would have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
Did your attorney go over with you the maximum possible penalties that you face for this crime?
Yes.
You are currently not receiving treatment for a mental illness or disorder, and you've not had any alcohol, medications, or drugs within the last 24 hours. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Because you're pleading guilty to a very serious felony, you are entitled to constitutional rights. Each of these rights is listed on this document. Did your attorney thoroughly go over these rights with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand these rights completely?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving and giving up these rights?
Yes.
Because this is a serious felony, I'm going to briefly go over these rights again with you. Do you understand that you're giving up the right to a trial? You're giving up the right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses or call witnesses to testify for you. You're giving up the right to testify on your own behalf or remain silent and not have your silence used against you. You're also giving up the right to have that jury trial in which 12 of your peers would need to reach a unanimous decision as to a guilty verdict or find you not guilty. You're also giving up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you fully understand those rights that you're giving up here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that you're pleading guilty to a felony? As such, you will no longer be able to use or possess a firearm for life.
Yes, Your Honor.
You will no longer be able to vote in any election until your civil rights are restored.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, your plea could result in your deportation.
Yes.
Do you understand that the state would have to prove on or around March 1st, 2024, in Burnett County, Wisconsin, as a party to a crime, you possessed with the intent to deliver a controlled substance, to wit, methamphetamine, in an amount of more than 3 grams, but less than 10 grams, contrary to Wisconsin law. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum possible penalty could be up to a $50,000 fine or up to 15 years of incarceration or both?
Yes.
You also understand that the court may suspend your driving privileges for not less than 6 months, but no more than 5 years.
Yes.
Do you also understand that there's an agreement here between the parties, and it's going to be a recommendation to the court for the court to sentence you to a term of confinement in prison of 2 years and extended supervision of 3 years for a total of a 5-year prison sentence with certain conditions while on extended supervision. Do you understand that I'm not bound to follow that agreement?
Yes.
Said differently, if I thought based upon the facts of this case that it's more serious, I could sentence you to the maximum possible sentence if I thought it was warranted. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you still wish to proceed and enter a guilty plea?
Yes.
Now, did you review the criminal complaint with your attorney?
Yes.
In particular, there is that section called the probable cause section where it basically says what happened that day and why you were charged with the crime. Do you remember that?
Yes.
For the most part, are those facts accurate?
Yes.
Are you admitting here today that you in fact did possess methamphetamine in an amount of greater than 3 grams, but less than 10 grams?
Yes.
And that was with an intent to distribute that methamphetamine?
Yes.
And deliver, and you understand what that means. And that's as a party to a crime. And do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Do you need me to go over with you what it means to be a party to a crime, or do you fully understand that?
My lawyer.
Lawyer went over that?
Yes.
Okay. I can go over it again with you if you need me to.
You can.
If you want me to, I can.
It's okay.
I will read you the full definition. As a party to a crime, it means you either directly committed the crime yourself, you aided and abetted someone who was committing the crime, or you conspired with one or more persons to commit the crime and affirmative actions were taken towards the commission of the crime. Now, do you fully understand?
Yes.
All right. So, based upon those facts, you are admitting here today that you are guilty of this crime. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you review the discovery with your attorney as well?
Yes.
Okay. And so, Mr. Gramstrup, may the court use the probable cause section of the criminal complaint along with the statements made by Mr. Peterson to find a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions or concerns right now that you need to ask the court or you want to ask your attorney, Mr. Peterson?
No.
All right. Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you for you to plead guilty to this crime?
No.
You're doing so freely and intelligently. That means you're telling the court that you fully understand what you're doing here today.
Yes.
And voluntarily.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's services?
Yes.
Has he looked at this matter thoroughly?
Yes.
Has he went over with you the discovery in this case?
Yes.
Has he discussed with you any potential defenses you could have or discussed with you a lack of defenses that you may have?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes.
Mr. Gramstrup, are you satisfied that Mr. Peterson is entering a plea freely, voluntarily, and intelligently?
I am, Your Honor.
Do you believe that he understands the rights that he's giving up here today?
Yes, I do.
Did you address the strengths and the weaknesses of the case with him?
Yes.
And did you discuss the elements that the state would have to prove along with the facts of this case, along with the discovery that you had available?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Peterson, at this time, do you have any further questions for the court or any questions for your attorney before I proceed?
No, Your Honor.
Then at this time, as it relates to amended count 1, possession with intent, methamphetamine, greater than 3 grams, but less than 10 grams, as a party to a crime, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
The court will find your plea is done knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. I will find that you understand your constitutional rights and the rights that you're giving up here today. I will also find that you understand the charge and the maximum possible penalties. I'm going to find a factual basis to accept your plea. Based on that, I will find you guilty of the amended count 1. A judgment of conviction will be entered today. As to the remaining count and cases, they will be dismissed and read in for purposes of sentencing. The court has also received a letter. I believe it was from your long-term significant other that I believe you call your common law wife. In addition to defendant's sentencing memorandum, Mr. Schmidt, did you also receive that letter?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Schmidt, I am going to turn to you for argument and sentencing recommendation.
Thank you. I'm asking for a sentence of 2 years initial confinement, 3 years extended supervision for a number of reasons. Because this is
And I'm just going to ask that you slow down when you're talking, just to make sure that the court reporter can take everything down accurately.
Sure. I'm asking for a sentence of 2 years initial confinement and 3 years extended supervision. It needs to be a prison sentence because this is a drug delivery case, and that not doing a prison sentence would unduly depreciate the seriousness of the offense. That being said, I'd say as it relates to Roland Peterson, this is an aiding and abetting case. The court's seen the body cam, it's seen Vanessa DeCora's interview, it has heard her in allocution. When the stop happened, you can see in the body cam, Vanessa DeCora is the cool Luke. She's the person who's quiet and confident in taking things with stride. She admitted to having the cartel connections. She admitted to having the connection with a big drug dealer in Sawyer County. She claimed, and Roland confirmed, they were going to the Twin Cities, and part of what they did is visit her daughter, Tiana Wade. In fact, Tiana Wade was in the vehicle in the bail jump on the way back to Sawyer County. Tiana Wade, who is Vanessa DeCora's daughter, whose last conviction was for selling methamphetamine in Sawyer County. When you watch the footage, the court didn't see a lot of that because I couldn't play it because it would have been hearsay at the trial. Mr. Peterson was very addled. I would describe very under the influence at the time of the stop with law enforcement. He's not the one who has the connections. He's not the one who has the history or the connection to dealing drugs. In fact, his history shows that despite his age, his history only started around 2016, and it's all connected to simple possession, addiction, that sort of thing. He's a person where he's never been to prison before. So in this case, I think doing an extremely long sentence would be disproportionate, not make a lot of sense, especially considered what I think we could show his role in the conspiracy is, which is effectively, I think Vanessa DeCora was his drug dealer, perhaps Tiana Wade as well. And that as his drug dealers, they had special access to him, special influence over him. I think he knew that he was going to the cities to help them secure drugs to bring to Sawyer County to sell, and that his benefit was going to be some of the drugs. So that's still possession with intent. That's still contributing to poison being pumped into Sawyer County, even if you're not the one selling it there. And that's why the prison sentence is necessary as well. I think that he would be a person where I think he should be ERP eligible right away in prison. Program will still take like 9 months to a year to complete, which is pretty comparable to the amount of time he'd have in prison, maybe just a year off if the court followed the agreement. Not a year off, sorry, a few months off. I'm not going to go too much into like his history and whatnot, because I think the defense is probably going to do that because they filed the sentencing memorandum. So I'll defer to them from there. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gramstrup.
Thank you, Your Honor. Looking at the galleon factors, obviously this is a serious offense. As the court indicated, when taking Mr. Peterson's plea, maximum penalties are $50,000 fine, 15 years in prison, or both. So it's a serious offense, and Mr. Peterson certainly acknowledges that. Looking at his character, I did file that sentencing memorandum, and I don't intend to rehash everything in there, but there are some important factors that I think support this joint recommendation that I would point out. I think the most important factor here is that Mr. Peterson has some serious treatment needs. He had some AODA issues early in life. Some of those resolved, but they became quite serious in about 2017 when he started using meth in his mid-40s at that time. Since then, his life has really spiraled out of control. He does not have much of a prior record, but what he does is not nearly as serious and is all drug related. And begins in 2016, right around when he first started using methamphetamine. To his credit, he voluntarily began an AODA assessment this past June when he was out on bail, but then was subsequently arrested and has been incarcerated since then, and has not then had the opportunity to continue to avail himself of those treatments. But I think that does give an indication of his desire to get sober. It's not something I asked him to do or told him to do or even knew about until I was drafting the sentencing memorandum, and I spoke to him about it. And he also expresses that desire that he needs to get sober. He tells me he's really sick and tired of living this way. I think most importantly, he acknowledges that he can't do it himself. He does need treatment. I think he also acknowledges, nobody wants to go to prison. Nobody signs up for that. Nobody says that's where I want to go. But I think he does acknowledge that receiving treatment in a confined setting is going to be beneficial to him because he's used meth almost daily for about 7 years. And that's a very serious addiction that he has that has to be addressed. And I think getting that treatment in a confined setting is going to be helpful for him. He's going to learn those tools. He's going to remain sober. He's going to have to remain sober. And when he comes out, I really believe that he'll continue that sober lifestyle. He's got very strong support around him. His wife, Sue Johnson, continues to stand by him. I've had a number of calls and phone conversations from her explaining Mr. Peterson's situation and expressing concern. And I think the court can get the flavor of that from the letter that she filed or that she asked me to file late yesterday. Also, his mother, I think, is a really good support system. From my conversations, I think they are people that are going to really hold him accountable when he ultimately is out on extended supervision. He's got a very strong educational history. I think that's helpful. That's always helpful in someone who is dealing with addiction. I find that someone who has a good, strong educational history typically has better insight to their problem and deals with it better than someone who maybe doesn't. And he's a college graduate with a degree in public health. He's got a very good employment history, presently owns and operates the main newspaper in Hayward, Wisconsin. His age is also a strength, 53. He owns his own home. He's owned his own home for 30 years. This is someone who really doesn't fit the stereotypical profile that we typically see in a case like this. Mr. Peterson really has a lot going for him. And I am very optimistic that he's going to turn things around. And I think this is a first step. I think it's a difficult first step for Mr. Peterson, but I think he's ready to do that. I think he has the tools that he needs to get started. And I think he'll obviously pick up additional tools through treatment. I think it's important to note that I think he also understands that he has to put in the work, that this isn't something that's going to be very easy for him at all. And he's going to really have to make it the primary focus of his life for the next whatever months it takes for him to get through treatment. And I think he's committed to do that. He certainly accepts responsibility here, Your Honor. He's accepting pleas and admitting his full involvement in this matter as a party to the crime as to what he did. Entering a plea here today and admitting his guilt. I think based upon all of that and the additional facts that I've supplied in our sentencing memo, which I would note, I think when I did that, Mr. Peterson was very open and honest with me, was freely giving me all the information I requested. So I think that the facts in there are something that the court can rely on. Based upon that, I do think this joint recommendation is appropriate. 2 years of initial confinement, 3 years out, 226 days of sentence credit. Would certainly think ERP is appropriate. That is his most primary need. And I think with that, I don't see him reoffending any more drug crimes. I don't see it. I think he's, as he indicated to me, sick and tired of this lifestyle and wants to put it behind him and get back to where he was.
All right, thank you. Mr. Peterson, I'm now going to give you an opportunity to tell me anything that you want me to know and to consider. You can tell me anything about yourself, about this matter, about your.
This case ends with a guilty plea, but the bigger question is one viewers often debate. Where should the justice system draw the line between punishment and rehabilitation? The court heard about addiction, personal loss, and accountability, but ultimately, responsibility still carried legal consequences. Do you think this sentence strikes the right balance, or should the focus have been even more on treatment?
Connection or relationship to Ms. Decora, or you don't have to say anything if you don't wish to, but this is your one and only opportunity.
Well, yeah, Your Honor, I'd like to say that I truly am sorry for all the things that I did that were wrong. I know I have a problem, and I know I need help, and I want help. I never meant no harm to nobody, or meant any disrespect to anybody. I just want to live a happy, sober life, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that.
What happened, Mr. Peterson? What happened around 2016?
Death of my father, and the way I was kind of put out of his estate. It's really more than I want to try to explain. I mean, it was bad. I mean, there are things that I have to do yet in order, to be happy with myself. I mean, I have to try to do something about it. What happened? It was pretty bad.
I understand estate issues and probate issues, and I understand that can cause frustration and anger and a lot of emotions in people. It's hard for me to understand that a person, I want to say of your stature, a person who has a college education, who owns a business, who has a long-term significant relationship with a person who, by all accounts in reading her letter, seems like she is stable, she has a structure, she's a good person, probably a good influence in the community. It's hard for me to see that issues in an estate case, in a probate matter, would cause you to seek methamphetamine. What happened?
It became, I was overwhelmed with feelings of like unfairness and loss of hope. The feelings that just got to me so bad that I just wanted release from them. I mean, and plus, I guess I don't know, I'm just different than most people too. I guess I never wanted to become addicted to it. I made a bad choice.
No one ever wants to become addicted to methamphetamine. I'm going to tell you that. Not one person says, I want to become addicted to methamphetamine.
Right. But it happens for what it does, I guess. I mean, I regret it. I really do.
It's difficult for me to see, and it's hard, I'm sure, on you to know that your loss of hope, and it sounds like it involved money and not receiving money or property, caused you to seek methamphetamine. That self-medication, that need to escape from your emotions and feelings.
It was, I never got the legal representation that I that I think I deserved. Like it's not something that I really want to try to talk
I
about.
mean, back in the estate